Set JJ here, bringing you the latest in college football news. We're less than 1 month away from the biggest college football season ever, and there's been a lot of off-season changes, most of which, including Texas and Oklahoma, moving to the SEC in 4 years from today. 4 years from today, they'll move July 1st, 2025. Now, in the recent week, now, now, Right. The remaining once that happens, all 8 members, including the particular commissioner, wonders what happens now. Happens now. So what's the first option? Well, first option is to keep keep the 8 towers. Looking for possibility, they can go for future members, such as the American Conference, take out Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, or UCF, or go for and target independent BYU. Be a Power 5 conference, but besides, it makes sense. The only way to think about it, the only way to look at it, they should add two. They can somehow convince the SEC to bring them back, but that ain't gonna happen sometime later. Now, Big 12 started out with all of them until 2012. Texas A&M and Missouri made the jump to the SEC. Sorry. And now, 8 years later, here we are again. Another two Big 12 schools going to the biggest football conference ever. And that won't even happen. Some say it could happen next year. But there's a fee to pay for them to pay it. Heads, and I don't think they're gonna risk that much to make officiate the move. Now, reason now look, given its namesake, now UCF, the Cincinnati, Boise State, Houston, SMU, BYU are possible targets for the Big 12, but they don't draw a number of But they're all group of 5 teams. BYU is independent. U is independent. SMU, all Boise State's in the Mountain West. UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, SMU, they're in the American Conference. Their season is always tough. Their schedule is always tough. SMU on the rise, Cincinnati looking for a repeat of the American Conference, and UCF to get back on track after going without having not having a 10-win season. This ain't the mom and pop culture. It's people. And I can give you one damn reason why. They want money and they want it now. Money. Now, there has been recent talks that the Big 12 and Pac-12 media discussed a few tentations. This was just announced this night, around 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, about this. Now, which teams from the Pac-12 can they do? Could they take away? We could think about it this way. Look at it this way. Texas and Oklahoma are in-state are both out borderline rivalries. They always face each other in Dallas. But what teams will Pac-12 be asked? I would suggest go with Arizona or Arizona State. They're both rivals. They play each other every other time. Or that's another big case. Or we could just pull a but it would be insane if if the Big 12 takes Southern Cal and UCLA from the Pac 12, or go straight to the ACC and take Clemson and Florida. This, in other words, we have reached the point where the Big 12, without either of those two teams, it could destroy the Big 12. Like, every other team can go off somewhere else. Kansas and Baylor can go to the Big 10, or West Virginia can join the ACC, join the ACC, or Texas Second and TCU, or and Kansas can to go to the Pac-12. This is where seasons happen. We reached where anything can happen. And just looking at the comment, and that's where we see that. Now, giving more news on this, more news later today, more news. Now, what reason? Now, apart from the college football season, let's go over the schedules for this year. For this year. Now, Boston College last season, they had a pretty heck of a run. Run. They finished 6-5, 5-5 in the ACC. They won at Duke, won at Texas State, lost to North Carolina in a close one, beat the Panthers in overtime, lose to Virginia Tech, just was dominated by Virginia Tech, was dominated as the passings that they did. Bounced back against the Yellow Jackets, lost a nail biter to Clemson. Syracuse put up a fight against Notre Dame, beat Louisville, and lose to Virginia to close out their season. Now we enter the 2022 season. They got themselves a hell of a schedule. They go to Colgate, the UMass Minutemen, the Temple Owls, the Missouri Tigers, and Clemson. That wraps up their first half of the schedule. That wraps up the first half of their schedule. They got four non-conference games. Non-conference games. Two at home, one on the. Oh, they go back to Clemson. Now, that means they go back to Death Valley. Now, teams in Death Valley, many have tried to upset them, but have none success. Some were successful, some were not. Some were not. Now, go here, second half of the week, to go to NC State, back home to NC State, at Cardinal Stadium, the Carrier Dome, back home to face Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and wrap it up with Wake Forest. Now, I can see them going be a good step up. They go, they can automatically they win. They get 3 wins starting the season, but then hit a 3-game slide. They come back. Let's see, win. It's a win. So that's like what? 5-3, only and 4-4. 5-3. They go fuck like what? Let's see, that's like one win. Wow, we go 4-4 in the ACC. CC. That's my concern for them. Concern for them. Now, let's go to Clemson. Clemson, they had a big year. They had a big year. They had a big year. Once again, they were the favorites to win. However, it wasn't exactly that easy. They had the long-waited match that I had hoped to see was Notre Dame in it. Boy, it was a thriller. It was a tough game against Wake Forest. The city pretty much destroyed every opponent. They are a team that averages at least 40 points a game. Their struggles came right around. Now, the weird thing that was, Trevor Lawrence, one of Clemson's best quarterback players, came out, was tested positive, and then came in the true freshman himself, DJ Youngerling. I can't type that out. Typing it's how it's harder than you think. Well, I can say it. I had that tongue. Anyway. So in his first game against Boston College, they were trailing 20-10 at the half. Then they came back and got a safety on them, 34-28. A touchdown will win the game, but the Clemson's defense came up big. And then Notre Dame was the big game of the match. It was an instant thriller. They lost. It was back and forth, and it showed two powerhouses. But late in the court, but the reason how Notre Dame won, they stopped the run. If you can't, Travis Etienne was the best running back I've seen out of Clemson producing it. What does that mean for them? Well, I can give you a couple more scenarios for this. Scenarios for this. Clemson, if you finally figure out you only if on defense, it's not simple. You have to tackle them hard. You have to run on offense. You got to keep them on scoring. Two late scores, a late scoring down the field that was an open look and all the way down the field. Could have won the game with instant. Instead, you tied it up and let Notre Dame defense do the trick. Yeah. The game gets Florida State gets canceled for you know the reason why. COVID once again strikes again. Screw them. Screw it. Pitt Panthers they dominate and then finish the last 2 days on a good note. On a good note. Then it was the rematch. Notre Dame's defense did stop them, but they lost 34-10. Then for whatever reason, they get destroyed by Ohio State. What kind of series you write? Right, because you add fuel to the fire because Ohio State was was feeling the burn. Burn. That's right. They felt bad that they lost. They had complete control of the game up until the second half. Up until where their best linebacker was caught on target. Clemson took the momentum and rode with it. Last and this year, the second time they met in college football playoff, Ohio State won again. Ohio State put the pressure on. Clemson didn't back out. Now, 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 we head back. Now, this year's over. They head back to divisions, hoping that this year they're hoping to strive on perfection. Becoming the only ACC team. They lead the ACC in most championships in football by winning 6 straight, obviously. By having 6 straight title wins. But this schedule may come down to figure out. But their game, this is definitely their big game. Right here. Georgia at Charlotte. That's a big game in itself. Game itself. And this could be, and most people say on the internet, this could be the year where Clemson could take a step back. Could take it, instead of taking a step forward, they step back, as in they could have a lot of close games. They still win, but some say close games. Most people think that Florida State can do it. Well, I know that fact, and I don't think we're gonna see it. But I can give you one chance. NC State, Boston College can give them a run, and Wake Forest themselves too. And Wake Forest, don't forget. Sure, they lost, but if I expect them, the defense is able to get picked off their quarterbacks every game. Maybe that Clemson's not could be the team. We shall see. I'm very skeptical. Up next, we got Duke. Duke. Now, Duke, I have no idea what happened. Last year, they were work. They got. Now, we can head back to last year. They didn't make a bowl game. Now, this last season, they were worse. So, worse. There were L's across the board. I don't even know how the fuck is that even possible. It's one thing to lose to a tight game against a tight game, but another thing to get destroyed, not once, not twice, but thrice. They let three opponents were able to put 50 on them, put the big 50 on them. North Carolina, Georgia Tech, and Florida State. Big, big. Now, reasons being, the reason why I say this, Duke has to come out better. They're the only quarterback, the only team out of all the teams, they're the only one who have a quarterback. They do have a quarterback, but no one with prior experience. Chase Bryce transferred to Appalachian State. They do that sometimes. I can tell you why, but whatever reasons, it was not good. So yeah, that's the reasons. Now, Duke comes to this season, they need to get to a bowl season. I don't know about David Cutcliffe, but there has to have some magic left in this, or this could be his last season. Now, it ends the 2020 season. They go to Charlotte on September 3rd. They go to Charlotte to face the 49ers of Charlotte. Got four, just like Boston College. They got 4 games, 4 non-conference games. Charlotte, North Carolina A&T, Northwestern, and Kansas Jayhawks. They got Northwestern is the Big 12 runner-up, and Kansas is trying to get back to themselves, trying to get back to the winning ways after they let Les Miles out. Reasons being, I don't want to get into that shit. But here's the thing: second week, starting October, they got 3 tough ACC games: North Carolina, Georgia Tech, the Cavaliers, and the Cavaliers. Duke has lost 2 straight against them. Duke, I can tell you right from here, Duke has lost. Has now lost 2 straight against these teams. The first couple weeks in October. They're off for the 23rd. You go to Wake Forest, whereas Pitt Panthers visit them. They didn't play Pitt Panthers last year. Here, go to Virginia Tech, go to Louisville, then wrap it up with Miami. To do for them to win, the quarterback has. It's clear cut that the quarterback has got to stop throwing. Has got to stop forcing the ball so much. Just do what you got to do. If they do that, they should have no problem with it. I would love to get details of basketball, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Son of a. Now, Florida State. In my mind, Florida State is one of those teams that have been on and off. Go back to 20. They have 3 straight losing seasons. Then there's been a lot of inconsistency. This so this is a year where they got last year 3-6, 2-6 in the ACC altogether. It's clear cut that the Florida State has got to find that got to find how can they get back to that way of winning. Might fine they return most of their offense, most starters come back, but I'm very skeptical about this. Your first game is against Notre Dame. Your first game against Notre Dame, who comes in comes to have a playoff appearance for the second straight time, but with a whole new crew. Go to Jacksonville State, Wake Forest, 2 home games. Then go to Trust Field and Winston Salem against Wake Forest. Then you back home again, 2 games back to back, Louisville and Syracuse. Then you go to North Carolina, Keenan Memorial Stadium. Yeah, that was one of their best underdog wins of all time. Don't get me wrong. That was a I saw North Carolina fight back, but hell to Florida State. They freaking won. That was one of the best games ever. Then you go to UMass, Clemson, NC State, Miami, Boston College, and wrap up the renew the rivalry between Florida States. Now, keep in mind, Miami they have lost to Miami twice. Sorry, last year and the year after that. So Mike Norvell has already won against the Hurricanes. Can't afford to lose them to a second time. And this is his second season with them. So a lot can happen. A lot can happen. We just have to wait and see, my friends. Wait and see. Can they could they be that team that say, let's go with a leap? Or do they get better but still don't get a full game but somewhat get better? Now, I don't know what's with most teams in the state of Georgia. It seems like they always have that attitude like they can do it, but don't get me wrong, they're not all that, I can tell you that for sure, but they always get their emotions always get the best of them. Reason being is it was one of the worst teams ever to have that many penalties against them. That many penalties can kill you in the long run. That many penalties can kill you in the long run. Those are like down to the wire, 2 minutes to go. Get a late call that allows the defense to put a field goal on you. Field goal. So as you see, they were 3-6. They got better, heading in the right direction. that direction. Now, Jeff Collins enters year 3. Now, this is a game where they have to win, have to get somewhere going. They face NIU, the Kansas State Owls, and Clemson. Then they begin their ACC slate. With Clemson, North Carolina, Pitt, Duke. They take a break off from the 16th. 16. They get back in action against Virginia. The Hokies, Canes, the Eagles, the Irish, and the Bulldogs, and the renewed rivalry of Georgia. Georgia. But Georgia Tech, this is their season, as in they have got to get somewhere off, or else they're fucked. I'm just saying it like it is. Say it like it is. Next up, we have Louisville. Louisville last year, they were a freaking good team. 2019, they were the head coach won the Coach of the Year award. And 2020 was supposed to be big expectations, but oh no, but given how COVID was able to screw with them, it screwed them big time. Big time. They had a good start by beating Western Kentucky, then fall flatted by losing 4 straight. However, they got their mojo back, but then lost again to Virginia and lost again to the Cavaliers. Beats to shut out Syracuse, lose to Boston College, but beat Wake Forest. So that giving them a 4-7 record. Now, Scott Satterfield, he enters his 3rd season with Cards, and this, like I said, all the coaches that are in their 3rd season with the team. Jeff Collins with Georgia Tech, Manny Diaz, Mac Brown, all entered their 3rd season with their teams. Teams. This something's got to get. Either Louisville gets some wins underneath their belts, or we can get this job goodbye. Or they'll find someone else to do it who can do a better job. And their schedule is not exactly. It's not in their favor. It's not in their favor. You got Ole Miss on Monday. You got Eastern Kentucky, UCF Knights, Florida State Cavaliers. Is that like a rivalry thing? They do. Let's see. NC State, Clemson, Syracuse, Duke, Kentucky, the Governor's Cup in Kentucky. Now, in my mind, given my mindset, this is where Louisville are going to be tested. Ole Miss is one of the best teams offensively, and UCF is no doubt. It's lead the FBS last season in points in total offense. Have the most offense in the game. That's a Group of 5 team who had the best offenses ever. Now, Malik Cunningham is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong about him. He's not wrong. He says that he needs to learn what to do with a quarterback is simple. Be a leader, don't throw, have good arm, able to know when you have to scramble, and of course, don't turn the ball over. Cut down the interceptions. He's got a whole new receiving core. So next up is Miami. Guys themselves. Now, Miami's success, Manny Diaz comes back to Miami after leaving out. So, 2019, they had a roller coaster of a season. 6-7, 14-4. And then year 2. And then his second season with shit. His second season was better. 8-2, 7-2 in the ACC in conference play. So to me, that says he has gone four. He's already he's 14-10 against ACC opponents when the first two seasons. And now Jerry King most comes back for a 6th year after coming off a nasty ACL injury towards the end. Hopefully he'll be ready by ball camp. Hopefully that won't stop him from being here because he's probably in the Heisman race. I bet he can win the Heisman. What's going on in the schedule? They just like themselves. They got a lot of good hard games the first week, in the first few months of the season. Alabama, the national championship, take them on. Appalachian State Mountains, one of the best teams out of the Sun Belt. And Michigan State, that's the first time against Michigan State. Coastal against CCSU. I don't know what that name translates names out of. Virginia. Now, Virginia and Miami have been one of those teams that relies on who has the best defense. Because you're not going to see a lot of points on the board. Points. Miami won against them 14-9, and they won again 19-14. So you expect some defense. Now, North Carolina, that is a game that they have to get a win. And they would have even, because North Carolina has been the favorite to go. The FBI favored them a lot of times, but it's not turned in their favor. I can get the reasons why it should be. Reasons. 2019, they were favored. 2018, Pittsburgh was the winner. Came out the winner in the end. 2019, again they were favored, but Virginia. This year, they're now the favorite again for the 3rd time. I can see whatever reasons, but Miami, they got to get somewhere. If they can get the defenses, I'm not worried about. The defense is in question, but the wide receiver, it's how the wide receiver finds up. Because they got themselves a tough schedule right off the bat, and these teams are looking to get back. Especially Florida State after dropping after allowed Miami to win twice, one on the home turf and one inside Hard Rock. Yes, 3rd season is so. I think it's clear cut that this is his make or break season. This is make or break season. NC State. Now, the year after before, they got off to a good start, but they finished. But yes, the old saying goes, not how you start, it's how you finish. They finished very badly. In 2020, when I said they needed a bounce back last season, they fucking answered. They gave it to me. Went 8-4, 7-3, winning 7-3. They're the only the losses were by at least where a team was able to put 40 on them. Well, now their losses are simple, where they can put 40 on them, but really their defense kind of screwed where their defense or offense can't do shit. It was explosive against North Carolina, then they had a bit of a slide against Virginia Tech. A tough one to pit, beat Virginia, beat Duke, lose to North Carolina, lose to Miami, beat Florida State. Absolutely one of the best games non-conference was against Liberty. A blocked field goal wins the game. And Syracuse and Georgia Tech, and they lost to Kentucky in the Todd Slayer Gator Bowl. Now, into this season, they got to face the UCF Bulls and the Mississippi State Bulldogs, the Furman Paladins, and Clemson. That's a game where they go to home field. Now, this could be the best game out of it. That could be the ACC Game of the Year candidate out of the ACC. CC. And with the recruiting class looking good on their side, they could be that team too. It's time to take down the time for you to leave your mark. All right. Boston College, Miami Cardinals, and they can beat Clemson and win out. Remember, Clemson. If you beat Clemson in a head-to-head match scenario, and Clemson continues their winning streaks. A lose will kick you out and comes in the end. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's North Carolina. Now, North Carolina had a bad season before, but that was until Mac Brown stepped in. And then after letting the turn out, in comes the old school feed, a blue former blood as homecoming called him. Mac Brown, a former native, comes back to his hometown and gives the Tigers new hope. It was a tough one. They won 7-6, 4-4. But look at the schedule. Every loss was decided by less than was seven or less. Most of their games. But in the losses they took, in the six losses they took, it was decided by less than seven. That's insane. That's insane. In 2020, they really improved. They really improved. Improving from 7-6 to 8-4, losing to Texas A&M in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Now, coming into this season alone, 2021, they got the big game. It's a big game. Virginia Tech. The last two meetings for these two teams have been explosive, where the scoreboard was lit into the final whistle. Virginia Tech, they faced Georgia State, then the renewal, and then again the South's oldest rivalry, not the Deep South. That's the SEC, not the ACC. The ACC is the South's oldest rivalry. Let's get that far. Now Virginia has won the last 4 or 5 times so far. They won at least 4 times I can remember, just off the number of my hand. And where the last few games have come down to where by one, by less than seven itself. Georgia Tech, Duke, Florida State, Miami, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, Pitt, Woodford, NC State, their rivals to close out in November to close it out. Now, in my mind, now, you got yourself a lot of good opponents for them, especially when you got Notre Dame. Now, remember, Notre Dame is Mac Brown's has tried to do was try to beat a team within the top two. Basically beat a team that's within the top two. It could, and their season, if they can go to the championship, will come against this game. As in, this is a game that you have to put down on the calendar. Now, let's see who's next. Well, go to Pitt. I don't know what's with Pitt recently. Every season, I can't even count. Every time, every time they have had straight seasons where they have lost 5 times in a season. 2019, 8-5. 2020, they were 6-5. 11 times. And Pat O'Leary has been there for like what? A long time since been there? And it has got to stop. Like, stop. Pitt has been given a very good chance, but their schedule how it looks. So, they got themselves UMass, Tennessee, Western Michigan, New Hampshire. Then they begin their ACC slate. So, Virginia Tech. Now, what's interesting me with this is they have both come off wins where the other had completely destroyed it. Virginia won at Lane Stadium, then Pitt won at their stadium. And now go back there again. Now they go back to Lane Stadium to hoping to get themselves out of contention. The Clemson comes to Heinz Fields. Keep in mind, Pittsburgh's the only team in the ACC to actually hold a series lead against Clemson. Clemson and everybody else lead. They either lead or they getting close to tying it up. You got Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, Syracuse, and their Syracuse, and their crossover rival from Syracuse. Now, Pittsburgh has lost has straight where they lost at least 5 times in the season. But to be anywhere better, you've got to. I think it's their consistency that gets you worried because it's like 1 week they're good, the next week it's like, and then the next week they're off. They're like they shut off. It's like that. But you gotta keep up. They gotta keep that consistency going, or else you're screwed. Now let's see. Up next is Syracuse. Syracuse in my mind after that epic dream season of 2017. 3 years in a row, they had bad seasons. They had bad season all year round. And this year, Babers enters his 6th season. He's already 24-36, winning the 5 seasons he has. And this is no different. Is no different. You got Ohio. You go to Ohio, Scarlet Knights, Rutgers. You have the Great Danes now. Great Danes. Then you got to go against Liberty Flames. Flames? These things. But here's the thing that puzzles me about Syracuse. Although they did suck last year, their defense is kind of impressive. ACC wise, so defense we're talking national here, they're still not on the radar. We're not exactly a good team defensively if you talk nationally. But there's the thing is, the takeaways they both led in what? They led first place all time in interceptions. Defense is good. Now, they got an offense that goes with it. They can be better, and hopefully that will bring life back into North New York. Will bring back to New York and Syracuse and New York. Right. I believe that Syracuse will have a bounce back this year. I really do. I believe that. Besides, game against Clemson, they always give Clemson trouble no matter what. They were able to score on them. Well, defensively, not offensively. Then you got Virginia. That's right. Virginia Cavaliers. Cavaliers. 2020 season was not bad, but now 2020 they come in here with a lot of momentum going into 2020 with the Brendan Armstrong. But here's the thing: going back to last season, in the 4 games that Virginia have won, Brendan Armstrong has took the ball and has scored himself a touchdown. So probably makes you wonder. In the games that they lost, he didn't score himself. When to put the ball in, put the ball in. So that makes sense for you is what sense for you is if he runs the ball in the touchdown, it's an automatic touchdown. But 2020 has taught me this: anything can happen. Let's go off with the what ifs and all that stuff. So the fourth, we got William and Mary, Illinois, in September, the month of September. William and Mary, Illinois, North Carolina, Wake Forest, then Wake Forest. Wake Forest and Miami. October. They got big games here. That's Illinois, North Carolina, Wake Forest, Miami, BYU, Notre Dame, and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech. He ended the streak 2 years ago. They ended the 15-game losing streak to them. Yeah, and that was one of the great games of all time, of all rivalry sports. That itself was a good game. Now we head into the Virginia Tech. Roughly, this is a little weird for Justin Fuente. He's been there for a pretty long time, but this is the first time in ever where they had a losing season. Never had a losing season. losing season. Now, with some of the players with some players leaving, Justin Wentz has got to step up his coaching, unless the Hokie want to get another Hokie fans another bad season, season, and they got to start. And their season could go either way if they beat North Carolina. If they beat them, they should have no problem getting to a bowl. If not, hope the die doesn't come back. Let's hope that it doesn't come back to haunt you when your defense screws you over. Remember, North Carolina, like I said before, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, they find a way to score on your asses. And the last team, and I think that's the last. Oh, right. And the last team to close it out is Wake Forest. Now, in all the season that Dave Claus has been there, he has taken them to a lot of bowl appearances. But if you want to win, but to make it a bowl season, make it officially a bowl season, you got to win the bowl. Well, now here's our schedule. We're going to take on Old Dominion, Norfolk State, Florida State, Virginia, Louisville, Syracuse, the Army Black Knights, Duke, North Carolina, NC State, Clemson, Boston College to wrap it up. Boston College to wrap up. Now, on my mind, right off the bat, the games that is going to be really hard, I got to give it to the Army, North Carolina, and Clemson. That's their games that have to be. Those are must-win games if they want to go. And North Carolina, Wake Forest wants something a bit more than a bowl game or possibly a championship. You have to beat all three of those teams if they got it to win it. Beat those teams they got it to win it. Remember, North Carolina and Wake Forest, those two been back to back. The first one was where they won by a trail of 6. And they came around and it was an offensive. It was an offensive night. It was offensive. It was touchdown to touchdown, and North Carolina came up back big time. So what does this mean for the ACC? Well, a lot of momentum. After watching media days, I get to know how it works. It's all about the challenges that they've overcome, what's expected of Duke. Since now that they have a quarterback. Now they have a quarterback who's learning the ropes, who is learning the ropes. Ropes. This season going to be special. Special. I really do. I really hope so. For more news and more, I'll see you next time.